Welcome to Everything You Need to Know About the Ascension of Humanity, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern science and spiritual evolution gets real. I'm Heather, an energy healer, channel, and spiritual coach with Divine Ascension Company. Each week, we're diving deep into the mysteries of human consciousness, spiritual awakening, and the profound transformation happening within us and around us. But here's the thing. We're not doing this with our heads in the clouds. We're bringing neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, and cutting-edge research to the table alongside meditation, energy work, and timeless spiritual teachings. Because the truth is, the ascension of humanity isn't some far-off cosmic event. It's happening right now in the choices we make, the awareness we cultivate, and the healing we do within ourselves. Whether you're curious about how mindfulness literally rewires your brain, why shadow work is backed by depth psychology, or what coherence between your heart and mind actually means scientifically, you're in the right place. We'll explore practices like breathwork, meditation, and emotional alchemy, not as abstract concepts, but as tangible tools grounded in both spiritual wisdom and scientific understanding. And here's where it gets even better. In our bonus episodes, you'll hear from real people sharing real stories. These are the warriors, the healers, the everyday seekers who've walked through their own darkness and found their light. They'll share their breakthroughs, their struggles, and the resources that actually helped them along the way. Because personal growth isn't a solo journey, and you deserve to know you're not alone. So whether you're just beginning to question the nature of reality, or you're deep in your spiritual practice, this podcast is your companion on the path. It's time to expand, to awaken, and to rise together. Let's begin. Our guest today says something in this episode. She caught me at a heart-open moment. And I have to say, it shows. Kate Graham is an ancestral healing artist and oracle who works with visionary leaders navigating burnout, transition, and suppressed callings. She's a certified aromatherapist, reflexologist, Thai yoga massage therapist, restorative and yin yoga guide, hypnotherapist, and shamanic practitioner. She's nomadic. She's been in Scotland, Madeira, Northern California, and she carries a ukulele, a camera, and a shamanic drum in her suitcase. She's also the creator of Oracle Fest, an online spiritual event series born from a shamanic journey to Oracle Mountain that she describes as a festival, not a summit, and not a boring one at that. In this episode, we go deep on aromatherapy from an energetic standpoint, including why rose essential oil is at over 300 megahertz and what that actually means for your body. We talk about reflexology as a way to support organs without directly touching them, how scent is the fastest pathway to memory and mediumship, the moment Kate's grandfather made contact through cigarette smoke, and how she worked with a skeptical Scottish golfer who didn't necessarily believe he needed the woo part of her sessions, and why he then came back the next day asking for a second round of her healing after the best golf game of his life. This one is warm, wide-ranging, and quietly profound. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Kate Graham. She is an ancestral healing artist and oracle who works with visionary leaders, navigating burnout, transition, and suppressed callings. She does a lot of really cool modalities, some of which we haven't talked about on the show before. And she has created the Oracle Fest, which I'm really excited to talk about. So how are you doing today, Kate?
I'm doing very well, I will say, but I'm also going to be honest that I think I'm doing a lot better today than I have been in the last few days or few weeks, because I was able to have some really nice chats with close friends and gain some good connection and understanding. And yeah, so I'm feeling really good right now. You're catching me at a beautiful heart open moment.
Awesome. You gotta love those. All right, so why don't you get started and just kind of tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and your journey of how you got there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really beautiful to be introduced as an ancestral healing artist and oracle. Of course, that's what I'm self-titled, but it's a bit newer of name or focus for me. But when I think about it, a lot of my life really has been about my ancestral healing journey. And it was just difficult to name it, I think, until somewhat recently. And artistry as well has always been a part of my life. And yet I, for some reason, never considered myself an artist. But an oracle is something that I have a lot of experience with. I've done like thousands and thousands of psychic readings because I didn't believe that I was psychic,
Wow.
like seeking endless proof.
Mhm.
And I taught intuition development for 5 years. And so that I can say, with all confidence, I'm absolutely an oracle, a psychic, and all the things that fit into there. And so Oracle Fest came through a series of visions, actually, and journeys, shamanic journeys I was taking, really because I was at a place where I wasn't sure what was next. And yet I felt a very big thing. And I think a lot of people have that feeling, it's like their calling is some amorphous cloud in the distance and they're wanting to pull it in. And yet they don't know where to grab to pull it in. And so I went to journey about this and then was taken actually to Oracle Mountain. So I can tell you more about Oracle Mountain and Oracle Fest stuff as well. But I was also curious which modalities you've not featured yet, because I'd be happy to share about some of them too. I'm passionate about all the different things that I have focused
Yeah.
on so far in this life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw that you do aromatherapy and reflexology as well as
Yeah.
restorative and yin yoga. And we haven't really covered any of
Yes.
those topics so far. So I'm really interested to kind of hear your take on those.
Beautiful. Well, let's start there. And then I can talk about Oracle Fest ongoing or later as well. It'll probably just drip in naturally because I do put a lot of time to it. But so I am a certified aromatherapist and reflexologist and Thai yoga massage therapist and restorative and yin yoga guide as well. Within that, I also learned like to do aroma facials or Ayurvedic head massage. Like there's all these kind of other special sort of skills, special set of skills that got developed along with that. And that's actually where my journey in doing healing work got started, was all with these body work modalities. What I love about aromatherapy specifically was actually, even though I was getting certified and trained in the chemistry and the safety, the appropriate usage of all the various oils, their botanical names, and all this stuff, what was so fascinating to me is that we didn't even need to apply the essential oils for them to have an impact and an effect on who I was working with. And we didn't even need to diffuse them in the air. In fact, I didn't even need to have the client smell the oil for it to have an effect, which I think would blow a lot of people's minds
Yeah.
because I could actually just place a bottle near someone and still be sensing energetically how that was affecting them
Wow.
even before I made them any type of blend. Yeah. So all of my case studies when I was studying aromatherapy, I really took from an energetic approach. And no one else in my circle was doing that. There was maybe 5 or 6 people in this course. We were training with like an elder woman, like she was like over 75 years old and she's really adorable. And so she had a very homegrown and wholesome way of approaching aromatherapy. And I kind of took to that as well, that it's like, maybe we just try this and experiment with this, keeping in mind all the precautions and things. I was really fascinated at the idea that plants and earth, nature, and flowers hold a vibrational resonance
Hmm.
that could affect us even without it actually, if someone has sensitive skin or something, I didn't even need to try that. It could really, yeah, it could really change them energetically. I had a really important personal healing moment with rose essential oil. Have you ever used rose essential oil for anything in your life?
Yeah, I have.
And do you feel it is kind of like a profound difference compared to other oils? Or do you feel like it's kind of same? Like, oh, I just like that scent.
I'll be honest, like I don't have a lot of experience with essential oils. I have maybe 5 or 6 different ones, but I did notice that the rose
Beautiful.
was very, it was a lot more aromatic for me. I have I was a smoker for a long time, so there's certain scents that like they're just not strong enough for me to really smell unless I like really put it up to my
Right.
nose. But the rose was
Yeah.
very, like I could smell it like from a mile away, and also it was very heart opening for me, and almost instantaneously it had an effect. Where some of the others, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just hoping that it's working. But that one specifically was
Yes.
very strong. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that that was your experience with it. And I'm so glad that if you have 5 essential oils, rose is in the lineup because that is amazing. And I agree with you. There's definitely some scents that, are not maybe as strong, or it's also maybe the subtle effects of aromatherapy sometimes can be challenging to weigh out. Is this even doing anything? And we're humans, we're always looking for proof and efficiency and all that. And so it's totally fair questions to have as well. I would ask myself the same things. Now, I had a similar experience to you with rose in that it was extremely heart healing. So I used rose oil almost every day, I think, for at least a month after a really challenging breakup. And that was something that I attribute to my ability to come back to life, to retrieve parts of myself and my heart that felt like they had left me in some kind of way. And that repair was also, I think it's interesting to think vibrationally, thought wise, energetically. If thoughts are energy, then this, we've put a lot of thought into roses. Like how many people have given roses in times of love and stress and duress and grieving and all that. And so we've put, as a human collective, so much effort and energy and thought and intention into roses. And so it holds that like nostalgia and frequency of what it represents, like in a huge way. But also, it's been vibrationally or frequency tested, I guess, to be in like over 300 megahertz. And compared to other, our human body is maybe between 70 and 95 or something. So that's a huge lift up for our spirits. And a lot of essential oils are around the human body frequency or a little bit higher in the hundreds or something like that. So probably when you're using things that are more of the same frequency as the human body or even a little bit lower, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could be why some of the effects are a little more challenging to sense yourself. And of course, I can say chemically, therapeutically, what is happening and the changes that are possible and what's going on in your body. But, we don't really know healing's working unless we feel it, unless we have an experience with it. Right. So I love, love, love that you enjoy rose. And I'm a big, I don't know, if I could just focus on only one essential oil my whole life, I would probably shout about rose from the rooftops.
Do you prefer your oils like diffused or with like put on the skin? Like, how do you prefer to use your oils?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question because it totally depends on what they're for, like what the intention is. I tend not to diffuse. However, I'm nomadic. So to bring a diffuser around with me, it's not worth the precious suitcase space, right? I've already got a ukulele and my camera equipment and my shamanic drum in there. There's no room for a diffuser, let alone my clothes. So what I like to do is I like to dilute, and I mean, you have to dilute them if you're putting them in a bath because a lot of people take baths like a hot bath with hot oils sitting on top of the water. You really do need to put it in a solution of some kind that will disperse within the bath. But I do love to put essential oils in a bathtub if I'm somewhere that has a bathtub. But I tend to use rollers myself. So 5% or less essential oils compared to a base carrier oil, something that is neutral, not an essential oil. So I tend to use like a fractionated coconut oil, the liquid coconut oil, and put a very small amount of essential oils in. What is super cool and fascinating, I think when all of there was a lot of like MLM multi-level marketing schemes doing essential oils. There was like a huge phase of it, right?
Yep.
And it was a big kind of fad for a while. And everyone and everyone's sister had essential oils. It was like the new Mary Kay. And I think a lot of people could have been turned off of essential oils in that time, because aggressive MLM tactics can do that to any product, but also because there was a lot of like not safe uses. I would see stuff and just be so frustrated actually at how much was getting out there misinformation wise.
Mm-hmm.
What's really cool about essential oils is actually you need a smaller dilution than you would think, and you don't get better effects the stronger that it is, because it is a subtle thing. Similar to flower essences, if anyone has heard of flower essences are even more, they're actually intended as a vibrational healing remedy. So putting a whole dropper bottle into a water bottle is actually going to overwhelm the system. And same with essential oils. It's actually a lot for your body to filter through and filter out. But if you have it more subtle, your body can actually pick up on that subtle change and make a larger shift, make a larger transformation from that. So that's a really fascinating quality about, and I think it kind of helps us with our very consumer focused minds. We tend to think more is good and more is better.
Oh, yeah.
But I think with essential oils, absolutely. And I will say, okay, there's times where you have a really bad burn or something, and to put a lot of lavender probably will have a good effect on you because it's a very soothing quality. Or, my heart was absolutely heartbroken. And so to use every day rose was a really great thing. But now I wouldn't necessarily use rose every single day. I have it in like a little perfume spray for myself. I have a roller bottle of rose and blue lotus that I use for spiritual, for heart open and, third eye opening. But that I use intentionally. It's like I'm needing to do some deeper oracle work that day. And so I'll grab the rose and blue lotus oil. So a lot of it is the energy that we associate with it and the memory and connection that we have. Mm-hmm. And another fact that I found really amazing about essential oils. This is great. I haven't talked aromatherapy at length for a while. That's great. But one of the beautiful things that I noticed is that as you work with a certain oil for a certain mindset or a emotional or energetic or thought-based shift that you're looking to make, it actually compounds and makes it so much faster for that thought to become rewired, because our olfactory system and our noses are most connected to memory. So we log things super quickly if we have a scent associated with it. Yeah. Absolutely. Which makes a lot of sense, right? Like you smell a meal and you're like, oh, grandma.
the olfactory sense in the part of your brain that controls or works with your scent is actually right next to the memory center. So that's why they relate to each other so much. And that nostalgia factor with, like you said, with the smells really amplifies that memory center being activated.
Absolutely. So while I was studying for this certification, it was like, you have to keep essential oils by you. And I would use basil. And now if I smell basil, like I just had some pesto in my lunch and my brain came alive because it's so used to having that connection point, right? Like rose will always forever be a heart healing scent to you. So next time you're walking by a flower shop and rose kind of overpowers you and that scent arrives to you, your heart opens just even more gently. And think of if you had positive associations with so many different scents that are around you, the impact that would have. But I love it for mindset work and neural rewiring. I love that. Also, scent is something that connects people to memory and also mediumship, which is really interesting because I taught intuition development for a number of years, and usually scent was a way through for mediumship. And so it makes sense because people are in our memories as well. And it has like not as far to go in the brain to go from scent to memory.
Yeah, I always know when my grandmother's around because I always smell her perfume.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that so funny? This is a funny story, but I had an ex-boyfriend who he was pretty stressed out. He was going through carpentry school and he was trying to quit smoking and had some like anger and stuff. Obviously that agitation that comes up when you're trying to quit. And he wasn't smoking around me. And I didn't actually care. I didn't say either way that you need to do this or not do this. But sometimes when you're with a new person, you really want to impress them. He knew I wasn't smoking cigarettes. And so he was like trying to make sure he didn't. And he wasn't around me at all, but he was coming over later that day to my house. And I smelled so strongly the smell of a cigarette. And it was very odd because all the windows in my house were closed. I thought, okay, well, I live near the beach. I thought maybe someone was just walking by, but it was so absurd to me. None of the windows were open. Maybe a fan somehow took it in, but it lingered for a little longer. It was pretty strong. I thought, am I having a stroke? Like, what is the sign? Is it burnt toast or is it cigarette smoke? Like, trying to figure out, diagnose what's going on with me. And what was really cool is, so I texted him and said, hey, did you by chance, because I knew I was psychic at this time in my life. So I was like, did you by chance smoke today? He goes, no, why do you ask? I go, well, just so strange. The windows are closed to my house and I smell this cigarette smoke. And he goes, no, you should check maybe if the back door's open or, he's trying to give me like a logical reason. Right. I sat down on the couch and I had this really amazing first connection to the spirit of my grandfather on my father's side. And I know that he did actually smoke because I only have like one photo of him. I never met him. And so it was like, oh, this was a throughway for him to connect to me and for me to, and now I'm able to connect to his spirit much more easily. But it was such a fascinating and really beautiful mediumship opening moment. And then this boyfriend comes back from his class and he goes, okay, how did you know? So it was like two birds, one stone somehow. I said, well, thanks for introducing me to my grandfather. You don't know how that happened, but thanks for that. So yeah, scent is a powerful thing for better or for worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is amazing.
And it is. And actually it's funny because it leads me into sharing with you a little bit about something that I'm doing now with my work, which is one-to-one retreats. And a big part of that was because I really want to show people also the benefit of, I love this Hippocrates, ancient father of modern medicine, really. He believed that the way to good health was a scented massage and an aromatic bath every day.
Nice.
And I agree. We would all be so much better off, right? If we had these beautiful aromatic bathhouses and massage on hand. And so I thought, oh, when I do these, sorry, go ahead.
I said that would be really nice.
I know, right? I know. I'm thinking about it now. That'd be really great. How do I hook up a life that gives me that? Right now, I'm focused on giving this to others, but maybe one day I'll get to also receive this. But this is what I thought about is I thought, wow, there's a lot of, I was thinking about our world and how it's so typical of like a sensitive person to be like, how could I possibly help the entire world with what we're going through? And I think so much of what we're going through is like a lack of nurturance and softness and slowing down in order to listen to others. Like most wars, if people deeply listened and we softened up, we'd probably figure a way out without needing to have a war.
Oh, yeah.
But so much is living in the bones of our human DNA and our actual bones, right? Passed on from all generations behind. So I thought, well, what would be really cool is if people, especially men who have a certain level of power or status or success achieved in their life, but then have forgotten or just need to remember their heart, their spirit, the softer aspects of them to kind of build a stronger next level for themselves. Mm-hmm. If they could experience a scented bath and an aromatic massage, and also the power of sitting with an oracle and having deeper insights about your life, like to sit around fire and have ceremony, along with the other practices that I do, like hypnotherapy, reflexology, the yin yoga, and all this as well as shamanic work, which will be a great bulk of it. I really feel such an amazing impact could be made, even with only 3, 4, 5 days of regular massage and aromatic baths. So that was a huge part of why I actually wanted to go into one-to-one retreats, because it allows me to do all my work instead of when you're doing a group retreat, there's only so many baths I can run and massages I can do, as well as the other tools for each of the participants. Mm-hmm. So I love the group retreats and I'll continue doing them. But yeah, this one-to-one retreat thing honestly came from a lot of wanting to help with aromatherapy again. So this is great. Super linked.
Awesome. That's amazing. And it's interesting to bring that up because because I have a lot of modalities too in my healing practices. And I'm like, how can I kind of blend them all together? And that's a really good idea, doing the one-on-one retreats.
Yeah. And I think so much, you said it in kind of my intro there too. It's like, I like helping people with their suppressed callings, because you have a calling, you are multimodality focused. You have a multi-passionate healing practice for a reason, right? It's not so that you separate everything and people have to pick what they do with you. And in fact, that usually, one of the things I also do is I do a spirit-led business mentorship group. I really love supporting people who have been called to do a business from their spirit and their heart, and to keep connecting them to that, while also helping them with tech and virtual assistant support in my experience anyways, to guidance for marketing and all that. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing, right, is that excites you and lights you up. And it's what you really feel excited and passionate about. And I'm really passionate about the combination of things.
Yeah.
I'm not as passionate about, like, if someone offered me a super well paid job, but it was like only doing Thai massage at a spa, I could not say yes to that because it feels so limiting. I actually had someone, this is really funny, but it was a few years ago. I was living in Scotland. I was working as an office manager of a retreat center. I was really excited to be offering my healing work at a beautiful property. And so I had these posters in town, but I was trying to get my word out there. And this is Inverness. So it's the Scottish Highlands, but it is a city. And a lot of people, tourists, will visit because they do golf. Like the Scottish Highlands there's a lot of grassy hills. So people do a lot of golf. And there was this man who came in who wanted massage, but he was like, I don't want any of that other stuff, right? Because on my poster, I've got all these other things. And I go, sir, I don't know how to not do the other stuff anymore. So it's like, you're going to get what you're going to get. And he was like a grown man. And and he's, probably got lots of resources, money, because he's there to golf and he's flown to another country to golf. And that can't be cheap.
Right.
And so he's like, well, I was looking for an RMT so that I can have a good golf game. And I said, I promise you, I will set you up so that you can have a good golf game. Like, I promise you I can do that, but I cannot I can't only do Thai massage anymore because my spirit work, my guidance, the reflexology is part of it. He wouldn't even notice, but I have to combine my tools. If I feel the call to use a certain essential oil, why wouldn't I do that? Any other massage therapist would. And I'm just telling you, I have a lot of backing in that, and I ought to work in this way. It was a real good test of faith because, like, to stand your ground when you need the money as well. Like, I needed new clients and I needed work. It was so funny. So he arrives. This is funny because I don't think he'll ever listen to this, but I hope he does somehow find this one day and go, oh, that was me. But he arrived and said, I don't want the whole session. So if you could call me a taxi for around, it was like halfway through when the session was supposed to be. Okay, if you're sure. And then he goes, yeah. And I said, well, I'll wait and ask you in a little bit and I can call. I said, it won't take them long to come up here. So I'll make sure that, they do. But he was kind of like undercutting me before I even got started, right? It's like he was trying to tell me he didn't want what I was giving, even though he showed up, even though I had the tools that he needed. 20 minutes in, I swear to you, I didn't say anything. I was just doing my thing. Only 20 minutes, which is very speedy, if I do say so myself, to have this turnaround. He goes, let's actually do the whole hour. I see your point now.
Nice.
I was, thrilled as well, because I do think, it's not surprising that was a man. Unfortunately, there's a lot of guarded and resistant kind of energies from the male conditioned way of living and receiving and healing. Right. Yeah. So it was like, oh, you're going to see a woman and she's got all these crazy things and you have no idea what that is. Well, you should just tell her what you want. That was totally fair for him to ask me. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't get insulted and because I said, actually, I really think you're going to enjoy it and this is good for you. So I'm not going to hold back. Basically, I'm going to do more than what you asked for, basically, is what I was saying. Right. And yeah, it's amazing to me that actually the turnarounds can happen so quickly, profoundly. And then wouldn't you know it, the next day he's saying, hey, can I come in again? Because I just had the best golf game of my life.
Go figure.
I said, I told you. Yeah. And I said, I don't have any more room this week. I'm sorry. I wish I had, because it would have been really interesting to hear his changed opinion. But I don't know. What's that thing they say about skeptics, right? They say usually skeptics are, they're actually the easiest to turn into bigger believers because they're actually questioning and curious, looking at things. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we can't hate the skeptics or the guarded folk, because sometimes the doors fly wide open. Maybe he's a shaman now. Who knows?
That would be interesting.
It would be. I'm sure he's not, but it would be great.
So tell me a little bit about the reflexology part of it and kind of how all of the things work together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of my challenges personally, we all go into healing, I think, because we're doing a layer of personal healing, and we probably really deeply know that there's people in our lives who need healing. So my mother, she has MS. And so since I was a kid, I was always like, oh, I really want to find answers. It's crazy to me that the doctors aren't suggesting anything more for her to do, but sit and accept her fate, and maybe do medicine sometimes if that is needed at a certain point. And so I really wanted to help. And I was massaging her like my whole life, just being like, maybe this will do something. I don't know. And so when I started learning, I was like really interested in so many different aspects of healing and different modalities. And reflexology, because it's ancient, had a very special draw to me. So anything that has a lot of depth in culture or has carried through a number of years, to me, it's like that's for a reason, right? I love like receiving acupuncture, for example, because it's based on traditional Chinese medicine principles, and that is like a system and a half. I love Ayurvedic practices. I'm not going to say one system is like the winner out of all that, but reflexology is connected to a lot of these ancient ways. And it makes sense biologically. Basically, the idea is that a whole bunch of nerves in our feet respond to different areas of our body. And that makes a lot of sense that we would stimulate our walking on the earth, and that we would have, that's why they love barefoot walking, because it's good for your reflexes. You have a rock and it touches your liver point and it stimulates your liver. That's actually a really good thing versus I have a real problem with modern shoes now. It's an issue. I'm like, but I can't feel things. It doesn't make any sense. But the reflexology was interesting to me because it's also kind of an indirect way of approaching a certain ailment in the body. So a good example for this is I was working early on in my healing work. I was working with a client who had Crohn's, really, really, I think she lost already 2 feet of intestine that had to be taken out. Yeah. And she's quite young. It was very challenging. And so, all the IBS symptoms and Crohn's, everything. And she was also in university at the time. And so she was under a lot of stress and everything. And if I was doing very gentle massage work on her abdomen, it would often cause a flare up simply because your body is responding. Right. And so her nervous system was so vigilant and uptight that I was like, well, I don't really know if it makes sense to actually trigger, like, I don't want to trigger an inflammatory response when we're trying to take it all down. Right. And so we were trying different things here and there. We'd communicate, on a better week, usually she could handle a little bit of abdomen massage and it did go further. But even energy, being around someone's energy who's focused on healing when a lot of what you're focusing on is school and everyone's stressed or frat houses and things, and that's not healing vibes. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, at least this is also supportive to her. But the real breakthrough in working with that client was when I started doing reflexology with her, because it's like I could actually stimulate and support the organs that needed help without actually touching and affecting them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Directly. Yeah. It was. And it's interesting because obviously a foot massage is relaxing. So it has that effect as well. It has that benefit. But I was a skeptic. I'm a skeptic of everything until proven otherwise, really. I think it's a safe way to be. Yeah. Right. And it's good. We have to think critically about, you can't just like take someone's word for it. So I don't want anyone to just take my word for it other than to say, okay, that's more information and I'll try for myself. Mm-hmm. So I was learning reflexology because my aromatherapy teacher was also teaching it. And I thought, well, I really love learning from her. This would be great add on. I'm sure it's useful. I believe in it conceptually, but I hadn't experienced it in a way for myself yet. I knew I resonated with it. I knew some of my other teachers had been talking about it. And so I could kind of be like, all right, they've got something there. I'm not casting it aside completely, but I studied reflexology thinking, well, we'll see how I feel about this. And at least it's one more skill to add to the belt in a way. Right. I was mind blown though, because when I was going through my training, there was this time that I'd been getting these reflexology treatments every week for a few weeks. So I knew what they felt like. And I hadn't noticed anything specifically other than, okay, on other people's feet, I can see this. And I was starting to make connections, but I had an IUD put in. This is so many years ago now. It's funny to think about, but I had an IUD put in the week of, I had another training class. And I showed up not thinking I needed to claim, oh, by the way, this change happened or anything, because I'd recovered myself by that point. And my body was still feeling the impacts because it's a traumatic thing for your body to to have that implanted. That's not a comfy experience. It's like one of the most metal things I've ever chosen to do, and to pay someone to do it. And on top of that, that's crazy. But I had someone touch the area of my body that would relate to exactly where it was implanted. And I felt like a searing pain. And it was so odd to me because I'd been receiving these treatments every week for the last few weeks. Well, how on earth is it actually as accurate? I thought, well, no matter what, this has benefits, and maybe intention and energy is doing half the work. But truly, the actual spot on my body where it would relate to where this trauma had happened, it was like I couldn't even handle the person touching it because there was so much repair needed in that spot at that time. So I was like totally convinced after that point, because
that's really validating for sure.
It was. It needed to be a very obvious sign, I think, for me. When something subtle wouldn't have worked. Yeah. Yeah, it's so, over time, the reason that I love using reflexology and weaving that in is because yes, I can affect an area without directly stimulating it or drawing attention to it. I can also have a slight diagnostic of where there might be patterns of tension or holding on too much. Like I can always tell when someone has brain or nervous system things going on. As soon as I touch their toes, I know how they're relating to their brain. And it's like very, very quick. You can also help with you can help with a whole bunch of different things by stimulating nerve activity, improving, blood circulation to that area simply by, connecting to the feet. What I also love is that because I have a lot of training in the head and neck as well, when you work with the head and neck and face, and then you work with the feet, it has this all over body balancing effect. And so I can get a lot done because if I do a lot of head and neck work at the beginning and then some footwork, then the body is like open and ready for anything else that happens in between and the connection points are made. So I think I really enjoy that idea. So many of us are in our heads in life. And so it's like, let's bring it to the feet. And then, to also relieve some of that chronic head tension that people have, even just from computers and being on phones and things.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an all over body worker because so much comes from the foundation of our feet and also so much is informed by our head. So
yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. I didn't realize it at the time. At the time, I'm just like, oh, reflexology, that sounds interesting, And as I worked with it, I thought, well, this is why, this is exactly why. I used to do these head to toe massages actually, where I would do head and neck and chest and face work, really calming with aromatherapy. I'd switch to doing reflexology and then I'd just do energy balancing in between. And no matter what the person was dealing with, it felt like a really, really effective way of getting right to things.
That makes sense. I did acupuncture for a while, and I remember seeing in the office the charts on the wall for the reflexology, and even just the meridian lines and stuff for the acupuncture, like all of it. I mean, everything in your system is related. So, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Absolutely. And that when I did yin yoga, they used the meridian lines as a way of understanding how to support the body and to also, I would say, like restructure the stress pattern that might be happening. Yin is all about like cooling and receiving and holding as well. And so Yin was teaching me a lot about meridians. And then I would go, oh, that connects to this and that connects to this. And it's like a beautiful mind, right? Where you're at a classroom and you're making all these like equations and they're floating around your head. That is really what it's like and why so many people get so many healing certifications. That's why we have so many multimodality focused practitioners, because one thing does lead to another. And it is all part of the same root. We're trying to get to the roots of things. I might have 5 ways that I get to the root of things, and you might have 5 ways you get to the root of things, but you weren't going to get there just with one.
Right. Absolutely. So before we wrap up, I do want to hear a little bit about Oracle Fest, if you can tell us.
Of course. Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't start with it because we'd still be talking about Oracle Fest at this point. So other than the one-to-one retreats and group retreats in Scotland, or I'm also doing an Oracle Fest first retreat event in Mount Shasta this year.
Oh, that's on my next on my list. I'm going in the spring.
Ugh,
Really? Oh,
yeah,
that's so exciting. Well, hey, if you want to come back again, we're going August 23rd to 29th. So if you crave a revisit.
that's right after my birthday. Maybe I'll make that a birthday present to myself because
Oh,
I'm
that would be
actually
so
Washington State,
lovely.
so I'm not that far from there.
Oh, beautiful. Well, then I'm not super far from you right now either, because I just ended up in North California at the moment. I was in Madeira only 2 weeks ago, but now I'm here. Mount Shasta is a beautiful, like, it is a true portal of energy in so many different ways. And I'm
Yeah.
very excited because I did go there twice last year and I felt very strongly about bringing Oracle Fest to have an in person event. But so far, Oracle Fest is an online series of spiritual events that are, if I can make this the tagline, not a boring summit. Because I was getting so tired. I really wanted a place. I feel I have a place in this industry, right? And I really wanted a place that felt more connective and more communal, maybe was a bit more creative, doing some different types of things other than the standard podcast broadcast of everyone just showing up on the day and it being a free summit. Like that's what we have podcasts for. We can have more focused conversation, right?
Mhm.
But these summits, I just was like, I can't get on board. There's something, it feels like it's way too much output for the organizers, first of all,
Right.
and is it really doing what we want it to do? Is it actually really helping the voices of oracles or people like oracles? Because most of our Oracle Fest speakers don't self-identify as an oracle, which is also really funny because it's more about the path of coming to the inner oracle that this event is for. And it's like about embracing everyone actually is super individual, sovereign, and spiritual in that. And how can we support by maybe providing a space where, you know, year to year, you're going to have different things that you need to focus on, right? Multimodality for a reason. You have different interests and different layers of healing opened up to you. So this year, you might be really fascinated by the galactic astrology world and all the folks talking about light language. And then next year, you might really, really need to understand ancestral healing and land and lineage. And the next year, you really want to do a deep dive into past lives. Well, Oracle Fest has all of those topics plus a whole bunch more. We had 44 speakers at our recent big Oracle Fest, which happens every end of January. So the last weekend of January, we have the big Oracle Fest and many speakers come out. It's a really fun affair because we also have like panel discussions and oracle readings. And I also weave sound healing in throughout the whole weekend. And I try to add in some humor and some somatic, like some movement or some breath work or some journeying and visualizing. So it's a very active, it feels more like you're participating in a festival, but it's online. That's what I love about it.
Mhm.
And so we have events as the year goes on that celebrate the equinoxes and solstices and all that as well. So yeah, Oracle Fest is a really beautiful space that was all created through visions. It was, I went to Oracle Mountain in a vision and it was like, here's what you need to do. And I had this conch shell and I called in folks from the horizons. And every time I go back, there's something new on Oracle Mountain. Every time I do an event, I bring people to that spiritual space so they can explore for themselves. And I think it's quite empowering and connected. And yeah, it's got my heart in a big way. And I think it will also help more of us in the spiritual industry, perhaps build a new way of connecting in a way that maybe feels more approachable and accessible versus the more patriarchal ways of like, I'm the expert, hear me over here. We're all in our separate little silos, jumping up and down, hoping for someone to notice.
Right.
It would be great if we had more gathering spaces and more gathering spaces outside of Oracle Fest need to exist as well. But I love what's getting created here so far. It's all very ceremonially and spiritually rooted.
That's amazing. I love that. That sounds
You too.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. It's a big vision, but I really feel like if you say no to your big visions, you end up feeling unfulfilled, right? So this conversation I just had with my best friend before jumping on this call was like, hey, Kate, just a reminder, this is a difficult thing because it's unusual. People aren't doing it already. So it's going to feel hard. And I went, yeah, it does feel hard. That's okay.
Okay. Amazing.
You know, it's difficult sometimes to go into spiritual work. It's not of the norm, you know.
Right.
And so I think Oracle Fest is really great for folks who are practitioners as well, like to just come in and be supported by other people, knowing we're all in the same light. We're all working towards it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So go ahead and let everyone know how they can find you if they want to join Oracle Fest or get a reflexology aromatic massage from you.
Absolutely. So, what I am loving right now is the idea of these group retreats, like the Oracle Fest Mount Shasta event, August 23rd, 29th. So, if you're if you're hearing this in July, then there may still be a spot. You can let me know. But otherwise, in the Scottish Highlands, I'm also doing retreats. So you can see the retreats on my site, heartsfrontier.com. The expanse beyond our heart, the frontier beyond our hearts. So heartsfrontier.com, there's also an area where you can go and check out other things, other explorations, what I'm working on. And so there are some ways to work with me online, but those are getting fewer and fewer just as I prioritize the retreat work and Oracle Fest. But there are ways people could do, say, a hypnotherapy session with me. I'm open for intuitive Oracle work because I do love it. It's hard to say no to work that you love. So that would be the way to get in contact with me. I'm actually really easygoing too. If someone has a connection to me through listening to this and you just feel like you need to speak with me and there's some way we're meant to work together, you can reach out to me through email. That's over on Hearts Frontier. It's kate@heartsfrontier.com. And then Oracle Fest, oraclefest.com. So if you search up Shamanic Oracle, Hearts Frontier, or Oracle Fest, you're going to find me. And anyway that you want to interact with Oracle Fest is super welcome. If you just want to drop into one event and see what it's about, or you want to join as the Star All Access Pass and you get access for a whole year and all the epic replays, because we've had so many amazing events so far. It's like your own spiritual Netflix. I really do think it's so powerful. I sometimes go and watch these replays and I'm just flabbergasted. I get to know all these people in this lifetime. It's such a privilege. Some of them are industry leaders for so many years, So yeah, Oracle Fest, Hearts Frontier, Shamanic Oracle. I'm Hearts Frontier on YouTube if you like looking at YouTube, and Oracle Fest everywhere else for all the Oracle Fest stuff.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Likewise. It was so nice to chat with you as well. And your energy is so grounding. And I really appreciate what you're doing, being a platform for voices to get out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you're ready to stop surviving the ascension and start actually moving through it with a map, the Self-Spirit method was built for exactly where you are. And if you want a little taste of what that might look like, my book, Becoming Divine, is now available. It's the foundation, the framework, and the permission slip all in one place. Find the program and the link to purchase the book at divineascensionco.com. You were never meant to figure this out alone. I'm here. Let's do this together.